Just in case you thought the last time was a fluke, here we go again, nigga, right back in the booth, right back in the groove. Back to the fact, my rap spitting is proof. I'm polygraphing the track, that nigga the truth. That nigga was choosing, one that we chose. One of the ones you don't wonder with wonderful flows. I'm wondering if one of these wanderers wanted a dose of Wonderama, persona, impeccable quotes, wrecked a few shows, stage shit incredibly sick. One of the reasons that me and you click, preem, it mean a lot more than you guessed. I'm blessed every time we connect, a step closer to being the best. I'm being the
What's good, Mearablog Podcasters? Today I've got on BK's very own Torae. Torae, what's good, man?
Chilling, man. What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. What's been good with Torae recently?
Recently, I mean, everything right now is just for the record. For the record, the album, for the record, the single, for the record, the video, for the record, the tour. Everything is just me really promoting this album I dropped late last year. Yeah, for sure. And for the record, man, that was totally dope. I loved it, and I actually really loved the video too. For the record, the video title for the album. I love the shameless name drop every 2 seconds.
Yeah, you can't help it. But I love the video because it's like totally like classic New York. I'm sure that's some of what you were going for. What was the whole concept on that visual?
The concept on the video was real simple. Keep it clean, keep it New York. I didn't want it to be too overproduced. The song is really bare bone, hip hop, stripped down. I wanted the video to kind of represent that same aesthetic. We didn't do, topless chicks and lavish vehicles and cars. Just like me, a few of my homies, and just showing, New York, but not even like the over cliched Times Square or Madison Square Garden. I wanted to kind of make it still feel like New York, but just kind of show the hustle and bustle and fast-paced movement of the city. That's what I know New York for.
Yeah, and you've got like cameos from DJ Premier who produced the track, and also you've got I noticed in the background you got Tech from Smith & Wesson, you got Nitty Scott MC, who's both of those have been guests on my podcast. But it's dope. I just love the video, and also for the record, the album I definitely had that as one of the top 10 albums of 2011. I thought it was really good, really well produced, and you had a bunch of legends producing it. You had Pete Rock, and also I mentioned DJ Premier, you had Ninth Wonder. Maybe just talk about having that kind of production team behind that album.
Yeah, I mean, before I ever got into rap as an artist or a participant, I was just a fan. I was just going to the record store every week and buying up albums and cassettes and CDs and everything. And these are just the people that inspired me. Like, I was inspired to make music because of Gangstar, because of Pete Rock and Feel Smooth, because of EPMD, because of, Public Enemy and so on and so forth. So when I got an opportunity to start to embark on my journey as an artist and work with people, these are the people that I wanted to work with because they really shaped the sound of my initial learning of the music, so having great relationships with Premier over the years and Pete Rock, and meeting, Large Professor and him being interested in working, the same with Diamond D and all these guys, it definitely is a blessing. It puts me in a position to make music that I want to make without it being watered down and sugar-coated, and without it being kind of dictated by what's current or what people think it should sound like. Like, I was able to make an album that I really wanted to make, and if I didn't make that album, if I just saw it or heard about it, it'd be a project that me as a fan would be interested in checking out.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you just got off of South by Southwest, and I know this isn't your first time there, but as an MC, but also, like you said, a fan and a critic of hip-hop, how do you feel about that? How did you feel about the festival? Because I know, a lot of people, it's a lot of what hip-hop has offered these days. So, what did you think about the whole thing this year?
South by was great, man. This is just another, platform to perform and get out there and talk and rock for a bunch of people that might not necessarily get a chance to see me perform. I guess one of the things that kind of took me back a little bit is just the involvement of so many major label artists and major label shows that were put on this year. Because I feel like, South by was really like indie driven at one point, just a lot of fans and rap guys and just, people kind of like getting out on the road and thugging it out and just, driving for 12 hours to get there and bunking up. And now you got, these top tier artists from Jay-Z to Rick Ross to, Warner Brothers, Atlantic Records had their own stage for 3 days. So it just kind of changed the dynamic of the people that came and what they were coming to see. And I guess it also just kind of took away a little bit of the spot from some of the independent artists who need these festivals to, kind of propel themselves up into a bigger atmosphere as far as the fans are concerned.
Yeah, for sure. Did you get the chance to catch any shows or of the indie artists that you maybe thought were, dope, or you got a chance? I know you were performing, but I know you got a chance to see some of the shows. Did you anything like stand out to you?
I mean, there was so many people I wanted to see, from Action Bronson to who I did want to catch the Nas performance, but just like, scheduling wise, it was literally something going on every hour of the day.
Right.
And when I wasn't performing, my team definitely had me doing other things. So, from interviews to shows and just really trying to maximize our time out there. So I didn't get a chance to see everything I wanted to, but I did catch EPMD.
Oh, yeah.
I did see Homeboy Sandman. I did see Pharaoh launch. I did see Mobb Deep. That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Mobb Deep and Noid.
Yeah.
It was looking like 95 on that stage.
Right, you don't get to see,
15
right.
Queensbridge guys on stage with Mobb Deep t-shirts. So that was dope. Overall, obviously, I can't be in more than one place at one time, so it was so much more I would have wanted to see. But, I did get a chance to check some. And the fact that I live in New York, I do have the option of catching a lot of live shows, probably a lot more than other people. So I feel like, at some point I'll get a chance to see everybody that I wanted to see ride.
Yeah, you mentioned that with Mobb Deep and, Noid, you don't get to see that group and Noid link up as much as they used to back in the 90s, which is like a perfect thing. But, now...
Yeah, that was really like my first time seeing all three of those guys on stage rocking together. So
right, because they don't spend as much time together anymore. But, also, we were talking about, For the Record last year. Now, this year, I know, people are really hungry for more Torae. Do you have anything else coming, maybe album-wise or mixtape or something for 2012?
Right now, I'm just really still pushing the album. I took about a year to kind of put it together. From the time I decided I wanted to make an album to the time it was done. And, being on the indie scene and not really having a major label push like I would like to have, I feel like I got to really continue to just promote the project I have out currently. Until everybody on the planet has it or at least has heard it, I feel like I still have work to do. So what we're doing right now is just continuing to film videos from the album. People have a lot of favorite records, and like we just dropped the For the Record video, which is doing really great.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost at like 90,000 views in 1 week. Which is pretty strong for indie artists. With no real like push behind the video or anything, just organically people checking it out. So I'm definitely fortunate for that. We got That Raw, which is produced by Pete Rock. We got that video coming. There's a video for Shakedown we're working on right now. So I'm looking to shoot at least 5 videos from the album. And also, since I did the album with no MC features, we want to drop a few remixes, kind of sprinkle some remixes in there this year with just me rocking with some of the people that, that I look up to or people that I respect mutually as the artist. So look for a few remixes and definitely look for some more videos. And then we'll see what happens towards the tail end of the year, if I want to get back in the lab and do some new music. But I think now, man, so many people, so many artists put out quantity over quality. I'd rather just continue to push an album that I think is a stellar album than to drop, 4 or 5 more mixtapes this year and they all be subpar just to have more product in the marketplace. I'd rather just continue to work on this album that I feel that people will love once they hear it. So it's just my job to make sure as many people hear it as possible.
Yeah, and also you've been in the hip-hop game for quite a while now, but you've been really picking up steam over the last 5 to 6 years. How has hip-hop changed maybe from when you entered to now in 2012?
Well, I guess 2006 is really when I started my professional career. Up until then, I was just a spectator. I had been involved with some things, like I was running around with some artists and kind of like just learning the ropes. And I had like did demos and like local mixtapes, but I really didn't get into the scene professionally till 2006. So, you know, from there, obviously things have changed. Things changing on a daily basis with the internet, with social networking,
right,
with, you know, artists being able to connect directly to their audience and their fan base. I definitely think it's really starting to etch out that middleman that used to be that label, you know, that puts you in stores and puts you in front of these people, where now you could just tweet or Facebook somebody and, you know, just connect with your fans that way.
Right.
It definitely puts a lot more power in the artist's fans. It shows that, you know, as long as you have a means of some sort of distribution and you can get your product to the consumer, you know, you may not need a major label for all the things that you used to need them for. And, you know, with that being said, it gives the artist more power, and I think that that's just overall the way it should be. You know, you make the music, you create the music, it's your livelihood. You should try to control as much of it as possible.
Yeah, and also you are, you know, you're in your prime, but and you're in 2012 now, but you sound fresh, but you almost sound like you're from around 1994, and I love that aspect of your music because it has that primo, like, you know, the Pete Rock, the guys who owned that era of hip hop. Is that one of your like major contributions? Do you think that, you know, bringing back that sort of age, but not like sounding like, you know, oh, you know, he's from the old school, you know, that's all, you know, that's what we're gonna get, but maybe that's like, you know, for those old school heads that are really, you know, itching for that sort of era to like at least somewhat bring it back, or maybe remind them of the classics. Is that maybe one of the things that you're trying to go for when you're trying to do your music?
Yeah, I mean, I don't consciously say, oh, I want to do this like 95 or 6,
right,
but I make music based off the inspiration, you know, and I was inspired by that era. You know, I came up in the 80s, got into hip-hop, you know, and like the 90s kind of when it hit its peak is what inspired me to want to be an artist. So, of course, you're going to hear some of those influences in music. You know, I also feel like that was like a signature sound for New York, and I'm just New York. You know, I rep the city. You know, I'm BK all day. I rep the borough. So, you know, when you hear me, I don't want you to ever be confused about where I'm come from or what, you know, what flag I'm kind of carrying. I feel like New York doesn't really have an identity as far as some of the artists that are coming out now.
Yeah.
You know, they want to sound like they're from the South. They want to look like they're from Mars. You know, like I just keep it real New York, you know, and I feel like there's something to be said for that. And I'm not trying to take it back, and I know 95 is over, it's gone, it's almost 20 years ago, but I do feel like the city had an identity at that point, whereas now it's kind of like anything goes, and I just kind of want to just uphold that feeling that I got that made me love the music, you know, and if I can kind of deliver that same intensity and that same feel and that same vibe, but with a modern day feeling and twist to it, then I feel like that's what my position is as an artist.
Yeah, and you mentioned being from New York, and every time I get a New York MC on this podcast, I always, you know, bring up and ask, you know, being from the mecca of hip-hop music, you know, how does that influence you as being an MC?
I mean, I was just fortunate. Like, I just grew up in it. You know, I don't know a time before hip-hop music. You know, some people remember when hip-hop burst on the scene, whereas to me, it was always there. So I grew up in it. I saw the guys, you know, carrying boom boxes on their shoulders and, you know, fat rope chains and, you know, just being fresh, you know. I looked out my window, that's what I saw. That's what I grew up in, and I feel like I was just submerged in the culture off top, so I never knew anything else. And it influenced me because it's what I lived through. You know, you could teach people like ancient history and they could read all the books and literature, but the people that lived it will always have that first-hand experience. And you know, like me being in New York when hip hop was really starting to bubble and grow, I lived through those experiences, so it just resonates through me as a person and through me as an artist.
Yeah, absolutely. Torae is my guest today. Go cop For the Record in stores everywhere. Definitely a dope record, and definitely the video's dope. For the Record, everything. And Torae, tell them how they can get at you.
Definitely, man. Hit me on Twitter at Torae, Torae. I definitely reply to everybody. I try to keep it up with, you know, people who take time out of their day to hit me. I definitely try to hit everybody back. Sometimes I'm, you know, working a little bit, you know, maybe in the studio, maybe on stage. So if I don't get you right back, I definitely try to get you back before it's all said and done. Also, my website is itstorae.com, and my Facebook is facebook.com/itstorae. I definitely want to thank the people that are listening, right now, the people that are familiar with the kid and the people who aren't familiar, man. If you're not totally sold, go to YouTube and pull up the video or Spotify and stream the album and check it out. And if you dig it, then there's an option for you to chop it up and cop it. We also got vinyl coming out for people who want a more tangible product and aren't really into the CDs or the digital. For the record, vinyl coming in April, a red double vinyl. Just for the collectors and people who really appreciate the culture. I couldn't put an album out called For the Record and have Pete Rock and Premier and Large Pro and Diamond and all these guys on it and not give it to people in vinyl form. So, even if I'm taking a hit financially, I just love the culture so much. I love the music so much. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure I do my part of it.
Right. Well, tons of ways to understand this man. Torae, thanks a lot for joining me today.
No, man. Thanks for having me.